Yes, guys, so some of you may know or may not know, but this year we're celebrating 10 years of Twist and Pulse.
Yeah, so we thought we'd sit down and have a discussion with our good friend Jermaine Riley on some of the questions that may have been tickling you guys over the last 10 years. Let's get to it.
So let's start off by saying congratulations to my dear friends Twist and Pulse on your 10-year run.
10 years.
Crazy. How does it feel, guys?
Amazing, man. Like,
It's mad.
10 years we can't have asked for any more, like to be still going and still working and still doing what we love.
Still winning BGT.
Winning.
Oh, winning.
Champions of champions of champions of champions. Yeah, how did that feel in front of the nation?
Yeah, epic. I think it's one of them things we've obviously been runners up for so long. To be announced to go on stage, like even for gigs from now on, would always be up next is the champion of champions, Twist and Pulse, and yeah, it's sick.
I think for me, yeah, it's the title, having like a title that we can't ever get rid of now, do you know what I mean? Like when we're 50, 60 years old, we're always going to be the champion of champions. So it's nice to just kind of like have a title. It feels good, man.
So obviously you guys are more than just a competition. How did it feel to always kind of have that as this thing that's kind of over you, like the runners up, although you was doing like, you know, your own musicals and all your different like challenges and your like consistent run of like dance videos, like was it like, oh, we just want to shrug this BGT thing off like eventually, or?
Well, it was weird because it was the thing that opened the door for us. So as much as it was weird because people always go, oh, so who won? And you always go, oh, you know, and you say, whereas now we don't have to say that, which is what's good about being champions. But I think we always will respect the fact that we made 10 years as runners up.
Right.
Like champions has just happened. So our career has been based on being runners up. So yeah, I think we can't thank it enough really in that sense.
Yeah.
He's like, you said it all right.
Yeah. Even when you chat for so long, I forget what the question was.
Trying to say I talk too much.
No, it's good.
Do you guys feel like winning the competition has given you another kind of like that you kind of just press the refresh button, so you've got another 10 years to go?
It feels like it's more of like a selling point, I guess, for someone. Like, so if you're appearing at a pantomime and they want to put you on the poster and they're like, oh, the winners of Britain's Got Talent. I feel it always feels like it's something extra. Like when we were on posters for the first 9 years, it was always Dance Sensations, Twist and Pulse, or Britain's Got Talent Stars, Twist and Pulse. But I feel like for something to have that title and be announced as winners or champions of champions, I feel like that in itself helps. Like even if we didn't do anything for the next 3 years and we just chilled and then we went and done our tour, like a new tour, like a comeback tour, you would still have the title as winners of Britain's Got Talent, the champions, Twist and Pulse. So I feel like that's something that I think we're going to see kind of the results from.
And I also think that with 10 years it's very easy to think of someone like being at their peak when we did BGT 2010. That was your peak of being as good as you are, and then over 10 years you might drop off. But to then win and show we still got it, / if anything, in a better place, then there's no reason why another 10 years doesn't make complete sense, which I think is sick.
So when it comes to you guys' routines and just what kind of gets you up in the morning, like what inspires you guys, like what gives you that fire in your tummy, so to speak?
I think it's music, man.
For real?
Yeah, music. Obviously, music come before dance for everyone, and for me, like I was always into music in my household, like my family household. So I would say it's music, and music is getting released all the time, fresh music, and even old music that you kind of find out about. Police Sirens, they inspire me. Yeah. They're really good.
Stay out of trouble.
Yeah, stay out of trouble. It reminds me, actually, don't go do that.
For God's sake.
No, but music is the biggest inspiration, I think. Yeah,
me and Ash have a thing about music that we're so passionate about it. Like if we get a song that's crazy, we'll slam the laptop down and leave it. Like we can't listen to it again. Like the feeling for music for us is like mad. And then I think there's other things, like you're obviously watching films and stuff. Like both of us were into superheroes, like those kind of stories and all the different kind of like watching like Avengers Endgame and seeing like the mad level of creativity that you can get to makes you always think, oh, we could do this. Maybe we should do something. Yeah, there's always more to do. Like, there's always a bigger idea. You always think, oh, what can the next film do? And then they do something that's next level. Like, for me personally, seeing how like the Marvel Cinematic Universe has changed just shows like how we can evolve and like keep making things. It's not just, oh, it's another Iron Man film.
It's just a one-trick pony.
Yeah. It's always evolving, which I think we can do as well.
Yeah, you guys definitely, in terms of music, have ruined a good few songs for me. I can't listen to the songs without thinking about the routine.
100%. Yeah, we're quite bad at that of killing songs. And
I rinse songs as well. Like, I'm known for that. Like, if I hear a song and it's amazing, I'm rinsing it.
Yeah, like
rinsing.
If I'm in love with something and then I show Ash, then I probably never listen to it again because Ash will overplay it to the point that I don't want to hear it. But I was the one who liked it first.
Right.
A perfect example of that was when Jessie J first come on the scene and Glen showed me her from like in her bedroom on YouTube.
On my iPad, in the back of the car, like, oh, check this out, kind of thing. Oh yeah, sick.
And I was like, yeah, it's good. I went home, proper indulged myself in it, rinsed it. To a point when Glen was just like, do you know what?
Don't listen to Jessie J.
Don't listen to Jessie J anymore. I'm like, do you know what? I'm so sorry.
And I was obsessed, and I couldn't be anymore because it just made me think of Ash all the time.
I'm also one of those people, and Glen's the same as well, because we always have the competition who's got the best kind of music on their phone. But I feel like my songs on my phone are the best songs that anybody has in the world. I think I've got the best music in the world.
And what do you gain from that? Just
no, I just like
it's a game he plays with himself. It's not no one else is playing.
I just think like that's how much music inspires me. Like, it's insane. But I think that is one of the main things for us. Like Glen said, we literally hear a song and we can't quite believe that it's that good.
Yeah. What have you guys learned about the industry?
One thing that always stands out to me is that to not, how to put it, like not take what other people say as truth all the time. Like, especially like when you've got like agents and stuff, they can offer you the world sometimes in a meeting, and we used to leave meetings thinking, oh my God, this is going to happen and it's going to change everything, and then you never hear of it ever again. Or even on the other hand of that, sometimes they tell you, oh, that Jermaine Riley guy, you shouldn't really work with him, I don't think he'd be good. And we used to listen to these people, and like we would veer from that idea or that person.
That's why you just wasn't calling me at
pretty much, yeah, that's kind of what happened. No, but that happens, and there's people that we veered away from working with or doing a project with because someone else told us, rather than making our own minds up of who that person is or whether that idea, we loved it. Do you know what I mean? Oh, we don't think that's right for you guys at this time, but we were in love with the idea, but we wouldn't do it because they said so. And I think we've learned that now, that like if we're passionate about it, or if we think that person is talented and we like that, working with that person and spending time with that person, then we should do it, and we should never let anyone else tell you who you can be friends with or what projects you should be in love with. And that's something we've learned over time, to kind of stand up for ourselves and what we want over what they want, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, it literally is all of that, and I think one of the biggest things is like managers and agents and stuff. Obviously, we threw ourselves into BGT 2010. I was still at college at the time. Glen was working as a professional dancer as well at the same time, and it's one question that we get asked a lot. Like, we didn't ever sit down and say, let's do Twist and Pulse as a job, as a career. Like, this is going to be our life. Let's go for it. We just did BGT in 2010, come runners up, went on the BGT tour, started getting paid. Then we just had a manager and an agent that naturally you sign up to when you had to do the show. And then they just gave us our diary, and it was like gigs every single day, like for a year.
Crazy.
A gig every single day, and you're getting paid for all these gigs. So we didn't ever have that sit down conversation of,
do you actually want to do this?
Let's do this, or even let's do it for a year, and then like, because I want to go do whatever I want to do. But we didn't ever have that conversation. It literally just happened organically, and then we just went on from there. And I guess we continued for 10 years. But I think going back to like the managers thing, as Glen was saying, it's almost like they would try and reinvent you, because we've done the gigs for a year, and BGT has been like a year, we've done BGT, and then like a year on, it's like what's next? Like, what do you guys want to do? You almost have to, well, you do have to reinvent yourself kind of every year. It's kind of like with an artist, they release a single, or then they do an album, and then they do a tour, and then they go back in the studio for the second album. It's that, but because we're dancers, that's one thing we've always struggled with. That because we can't just make a dance, release it, make 10 dances, release it as an album, and then go on tour. like it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, something monumental has to happen to give you a reason to tour.
Yeah,
get it.
It's that. So I think we struggled a little bit with that, and that's when we started listening to managers and agents. Oh, why don't you do this and blah blah blah? And we're like, we haven't ever thought to do that. So we're thinking, oh, maybe that's good because we haven't thought of it, and it sounds quite fun. But by the time you do whatever that kind of job is or goal, you finish it and you're like, oh, it wasn't as...
Yeah, oh, we shouldn't do that, or we didn't get what we thought we was going to get from it. And you, if anything, you veered off track of what you was originally aiming for.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what kind of the learning curve of the industry is. Kind of wrapping up the question, I guess.
You touched upon the beginning, just of how you got in, like you basically just entered the competition and you kind of got sucked into the whirlwind of it all. Were both of you in different dance groups when you first started?
Yeah, so that's what I mean. We had started doing our duo from college, but we were dancing for different crews and doing all the kind of competitions. But BGT was the thing that cemented us together as like, this is going to be an act. And like we said, we didn't really have a choice. Once we were already gigging, you wasn't going to turn down the gigs. And then you naturally, obviously, departed from those groups because you couldn't give them the commitment of going to rehearsals and doing the time because we were working. And we had our dance. Individual dance groups which we brought together to make our dance company, and then we started using that as kind of our outside training that we, created them and created new routines for that. And yeah, I think it was just a natural progression. I think.
Did you get any kind of mean girl resentment from the groups that you used to be in when you started to like take off?
Yeah, I remember at the time. Mine didn't end nicely, man. like the transition wasn't smooth, and because that was like 10 years ago now, maybe even 11 years ago, because I think it was 2009. But I remember my choreographer at the time of the dance group that I was a part of. Like, I remember it just didn't sit very well with him, and obviously I was making that transition. Well, to be honest, my group, sorry, not my group, but the group I was a part of was called Mystical, and then Glen's crew that he was a part of was called Peridot, and then we had Twist and Pulse as well. So we basically had 3 options to do BGT in 2010, and prior to that, I tried with Mystical, Glen had tried with Peridot, and we obviously met at college, and we made the decision to do it as Twist and Pulse. Right. Just because it's so weird. It's hard obviously to remember back like 10 years ago and exactly how you felt at the time, but something felt right about doing it as a duo, and as Twist and Pulse. Yeah. And at the time, Mystical and Peridot didn't.
They weren't doing it.
Yeah, they weren't doing BGT.
So that's. Are you sure you're not doing it? Yeah, we're not doing it. Cool. Full steam ahead, so Twist and Pulse. Yeah. Turned out they did end up auditioning and doing
both of them. So all 3 of us were doing it in 2010, and we were like, "You are joking me!" Like, obviously, it's amazing because they're still all of our friends and stuff, and it's amazing that everyone's doing it. But I think it made us feel a little bit more awkward because they were literally like our family. Do you know what I mean? Like both of those groups were our family. So for us,
like I feel like I wouldn't have done it. Like I would have done it with Peridot if for the first time I asked the question they were doing it. I think I would have done it with them, but they wasn't. So I thought like, oh, let's do it.
Back then, I was more familiar with your journey with Peridot, and I thought to myself, obviously seeing you guys do the competition. In the dance world, you automatically think it's something you got served, rivalry, something's happened, beef, and you left the group and thought, oh, I'm just gonna go off and do my own thing. So I've always wondered, like, if there was, but come to find out.
Yeah, like without getting into too much detail or like personal side, but I remember personally from my side of it that I think I got removed from their WhatsApp group over time, and they just started doing their normal gigs because obviously I wasn't at rehearsals, so they was carrying on with stuff, but they were talking about it and I was just getting the messages. At the time, I felt hurt by it, and I was like, oh, like, because I in my head was like, of course I still dance with them, like even though we're gigging, I'm gonna go rehearsals and I'm gonna do the shows. But obviously, I couldn't because we were so busy and we'd done much better than I'd even dreamed of doing. So it took up more of my time than I thought, and at the time, I was in two minds of like, oh guys, why am I not in the group anymore? But there wasn't ever a discussion like, look, you're not going to be in the group. It kind of just fizzled out. We were working. They understood that we'd done amazing.
Well, even
they
the question like, oh, do you want to still be in the group?
Yeah,
or,
it never
or
happened.
Are you interested in post full time? But there wasn't that like nice end to the journey.
Yeah.
It wasn't a discussion.
So it's kind of like a reverse Destiny's Child where the people who got ousted actually did better than. Okay, cool.
No, the good thing was though, once we actually, because I remember feeling a bit of a way about it later on when I looked back, and I went and obviously was still friends with them, so I went and spoke to them about it, and they had seen it more like, oh no, we knew you was doing your thing, so we wanted you to just get on, so we didn't want to, and they just got on with theirs, whereas I didn't understand that until I spoke to them about it and realised like,
it was just
they were allowing us
natural.
I wouldn't have been able to do it. Like I was fooling myself to think I was going to be able to rehearse and go and gig all the. Like I would have just been the worst group member, and I wasn't. I was the guy that was at rehearsals early and doing all the music and like doing more than I should. And it would have been impossible to be in the same position within the group later. So it was just a conversation that wasn't had until later, and then it was fine.
Well, speaking of decisions, career, defining decisions. What's the worst decision that you've made in your career?
There's been a few, I think. We've had a few bad ones.
I mean, it's been 10 years, so...
Yeah, but at the same time, I think there's ones that have been bad decisions because we didn't like it, but it still did well for us. So for instance, we brought out a single, which...
Oh, Big Up Jump.
Big Up Jump
Big Up
by
Jump.
System Pulse. At the time...
Have you heard the song?
I don't think I have.
Oh,
no one has,
my
don't
God.
worry about it. But at the
She
time...
said, don't worry.
Don't worry about it. You don't need to hear it. At the time, we were sold a dream, same sort of thing. Like, you've got all these followers, we're going to give you this type of song.
I actually remember the exact conversation. We had our Facebook page, and I think at the time, we must have had about 500,000 likes, followers, whatever you want to call it.
To 800,000. It was
So
a big...
our manager at the time was like, if...
You guys can be stars.
Basically, if... I don't know if it was like
10%
if 10% bought your song,
It's number one.
you're number one.
Which
So,
is
like,
facts.
Which is a fact,
Yeah.
yeah. And also, if 500,000 people spend £1 on your song, you've made £500,000.
Is it?
Black and
minus
white, all the other stuff, but still, for us, we were
Just
even
post it
like,
online.
to even be in the top 10 for having a song is an amazing achievement. So even if it's not the 10% people on our Facebook page that buy it, it's 5% or whatever. We're still gonna it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So sold a
What
dream.
we did.
Sold a dream, and then as well we've had our own taste in music, and like I write songs and stuff, and I was into singing, but I wasn't very confident. But we never put any of that into the song. We took what they had given us and said, "This is the song, do it," because we know this guy had made songs for S Club and loads of people that had had hits before. So he had all the stuff, plaques on the wall, like big studio that we were working in. Had the record. I know this man that works for this thing. So we just followed it, did the songs, made 3 songs, and it didn't chart obviously, but we went on tour with it. Did like a 2-week open. We opened for Jedward, but we actually performed the songs, like mics on, rapping,
Like
all of that stuff. Full Britney Spears thing. Did a school tour. Like
Why is this the Britney Spears microphone? Like she
invented it. It says Britney Spears on the little.
Janet
phone.
definitely was doing this. Anyway,
But that's what I mean. But why does everyone say Britney Spears?
It's
mad.
It's
I said it to someone on Zoom the other day. Remember? We went.
Oh
on,
yeah. Someone on Zoom had it on. He was like, "Is that your Britney mic?"
That's that pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So we released the song, and then obviously got radio interviews. We did loads of stuff. So and then we went on. We literally went on This Morning, performed it, or GMTV or whatever it was at the time. Performed it. So we got back on TV. So if anything, for a year,
it helped us.
we was gigging again and doing
career-wise.
stuff. But then when we look back at it, no one even knows it happened. / we hated the music.
So
We should have put our own actual what we
crazy.
think was good music into it, because we might have actually done alright if we had aimed. But again, we got sold a dream. But it gave us a year of career, gave us more bookings, got us out doing stuff we'd never done before.
So-
but yet we hate the song and we didn't like doing it.
Because my thing is just logistically, like thinking about the numbers and stuff that they sold you within the dream. Why is it you think it didn't do anything? Because you guys have a really loyal, active fan base. Do you think the song was just bad, or?
I don't even think the song was bad. I think it was.
It was bad.
I think it wasn't. It's not bad. Like,
Bad for people to be like,
It was
what
bad.
are they doing? Or
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Like,
No,
as me as
course.
a songwriter, I'd be like, "What the hell?"
of course, but I'm saying like
Yeah.
to
But in
fans
terms-
that love you guys,
Yeah, it's in like our loyal fans loved it because we could do anything.
There's people that love it still. Don't get me wrong.
Okay,
There's
cool.
people that be like, oh, when you bring another song out.
Right. Because you made it sound like it was like your whole fan base said.
No, it wasn't that. Okay. It wasn't that. And we literally had.
Wait. It wasn't like performing and people were booing. Like, as in, crowds were still going mad. Like, we're on tour.
That's us because it's our song. Right. That's how we felt. It was our song.
Right.
And like thinking back at the gigs that we done and the 2-week opening tour for Jedward and all that, we wasn't even performing our Jump single that we released. We were performing our 3 tracks that no one's ever had. Like, we didn't ever release the other 2 tracks, we still got them. So
they weren't even on
one day.
They were just us just dancing to the. But obviously, we had dance breaks. We made it all proper.
Course,
like
it
all had choreo to it, so it had like
kind of like an industry showcase. Like you was trying to get signed.
Yeah, it was that sort of vibe. That's something. There's artists that haven't even been able to do that. I mean, they haven't been able to open for an artist. Obviously, it was Jedward. We went to Ireland. Obviously, their fans over there are crazy. So yeah, they loved it. But in terms of, I don't know what was wrong with the song or the way it was pushed, or I think music had changed because it was very much like a bubblegum pop,
right.
That kind of feel, and it's very like if S Club and that were about, it would have slipped into that stuff perfectly. But now now obviously you got people like James Arthur and the style was like a bit more sophisticated. It's got even like in terms of rap and stuff like that, you can't get away with like the kind of old school like obvious rap. It's very much more, you got proper rappers with intricate like lyrics and detailed rhymes, and
which I feel like we could have made something like that, but again, as we said, we didn't make that just because we kind of got given a track like this is the track you're going to record. It's fine, it's going to do well, everyone on your Facebook page is going to buy it, number one.
Yeah, and it's produced banging, like it was sick, like
the actual experience was sick. Like I really enjoyed the experience.
With your Britney Spears microphone.
But yeah, us thinking about it now
makes us cringe.
It's the worst decision you've ever made.
Yeah. But again, it helped us because we had like another full year of like work and opportunities and TV appearances, but it was just the wrong product.
Survival, people.
Survival.
So what's been the best decision?
Ooh.
The best decision.
And don't make me cry, okay?
No, the best decision for me is Champions. Because we could have said no. I still remember I received the email and I was at Centre Parks selling my mum's birthday, and I got the email. Did I say selling?
Yeah. Selling.
Did I say selling my mum's birthday?
Yeah, he was out there handing out flyers.
Has that ever happened to sell someone's birthday?
I think I heard that.
You know
what are you trying to say?
Celebrating.
Okay.
I remember getting the email from BGT. I was at Centre Parks celebrating my mum's birthday, and I remember seeing the email, and it said we're thinking of doing this Champion of Champions series where all other winners from all the other Got Talent franchises are coming into one competition to compete, and then there'll be one winner. To me, straight away, I got hyped. I was just like, oh my god, yes, amazing. It's gonna get us back out there. We're obviously going to come with some fire, blah, blah, blah. I remember I sent it to Glen, and I think you replied something like, oh, here we go. Or something just like, I don't know, like it wasn't an exciting comment, but that's a lot with me and Glen. Like, I'm usually one way and Glen's the opposite, which
Ash's usually high, and I bring him down and we meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Normal again.
But yeah, I remember sending it to you and you were like, oh god, like what's this gonna be about, kind of thing.
It's because we've been approached by like America's Got Talent, I think like a couple of other Got Talents from other countries saying we'll fly you over and take you, and then they never come to fruition.
So you just thought it was like,
I was like, here's another one, and just asked
like
for
it's not
another
gonna happen. But if we said no to that opportunity, which we could have, and some people did say no, then we wouldn't be sitting here now being like, yeah, champion.
Yeah, I would agree that that's probably one of the best. But in terms of the rest of our career, I think for us to start making videos and putting stuff online, I think changed everything for us in terms of like now, even champions coming to us because they've seen what we've been creating and what we've managed to get out of our heads onto screen, even though we've got so much more we want to be doing. But especially in the UK, there wasn't a lot of it happening. Like there wasn't a lot of people making videos and making creative content. Dance-wise, yeah. And then on top of that, brands obviously started then reaching out, and we had a new income stream from that.
Right.
We had a creative outlet and new fan base from people following us because of our videos. So it opened up a whole kind of new spectrum of twist and bolts that we were just gigging, doing holiday parks, weddings, bar mitzvahs, all of that. And then once we did online, changed the game for us.
And I feel like the online videos helped us with getting those opportunities more like frequent, like the gigs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like a holiday park could have seen one of our viral videos and gone, oh yeah, we're going to book them for our. So it helped in everything, like the whole package.
Just to kind of go for what you just said, I feel like you guys' best decision was just kind of sticking at it, because for a brand that is obviously 10 years, like it's a whole decade, I feel like you guys' decision to be consistent is the reason why I have so much respect for you guys. And I feel like it's the reason why, like a lot of people who are fans of you will still come back and check for you guys and know and love you guys as people, not just dancers. You get what I'm saying? It's that dedication and respect for dance, and you guys are knowledgeable, you're still young, you're still active, you're still giving all the energy that you gave in the first place. And I feel like that you guys' consistency is the best decision that you guys ever made, and it's inspiring.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much. That means the most.
That was nice, man. I like that.
I mean,
it was very solemn.
This is why I'm here.
It was in that voice, you know, that voice when you're speaking about something that's really meaningful, and inside, and it's deep.
Come on, ITV.
No, but it's true though. Sorry, exactly what you just said. I feel like
consistency is key.
Yeah, like there was so many times when like we've had our like bad years and our good years, but there's definitely times when we got to the point of like, oh maybe like
we're done here.
We're done here, or we've run our course, or like we need to go and like do individual things, like oh maybe I'll go do this for a bit and use that to get money in, then put more money into the Twist and Pulse pot to do something else. But somehow, we're just like we always find a way to push through and make it work.
It's amazing just because you guys are young in it, and when you are young, you feel like you've got the world of opportunity to like grab hold of different things or whatever. It's not like you guys, the Jackson 5, where you have to do reunion tours in Las Vegas. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just, you guys could do everything, but it's that decision to be like, this is our brand, this is what we're doing, this is what people love us for, and we've still got more to juice out of it. Yeah,
I think having that catalogue of stuff there, it's the same thing of when say hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. It's that same thing of like, sometimes it's your 10th video that gets seen, but once they find the 10th video and they see 9 others, then the buzz is there, whereas people do the 9 and then I'm done for the 10.
This is it.
And it locks off, whereas now our portfolio is at 9, it's 5,000. So even now people haven't discovered us. Even now people didn't even realise we've got a YouTube channel, or didn't realise we're on a certain platform, and they find one video or see us at one show and then go back and go, oh my God, do you know how nice it is to find a new artist that you haven't listened to? And then like John Bellion's my favourite artist. I go on about him all the time.
Is he number one? Huh? Is he your number one?
My number one
in the world,
in the whole world. Yeah, Boys to Men, John Bellion, they're my peeps. But I remember finding him, gassed, thinking, oh my God, this is my type of music, and then going, oh my God, he's got 4 mixtapes from before, and then now I've got like, instead of having the 3 songs I found, I've got 50 songs. Like, but imagine he had 50 songs and I couldn't even find the guy, and it took me that like 53rd song for me to then go back and go, oh my God, there's all this kind of thing for me to now dive into and like fall in love with, and then obviously everything to come, I was there waiting, which I think is the same with us. Like, we've 10 years and still people are discovering us, but you know, if you stop, then people don't find you, man.
This is it. Let's talk about staying current, because obviously we know that dance is ever evolving. There's always a new dance. There's always a new, trend.
Yep.
So how do you guys manage to kind of stay on top of everything? You guys obviously, I think you guys are the only group that I've seen do like the dance through the ages thing in one video. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, how do you manage to just before you answer that question, I got another question on my own. Basically, when you see a dance, is it a thing where you're like, cool, oh gosh, there's a new dance, we're gonna have to learn it just so we're not crap out here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does it get like that?
That happens sometimes, yeah. There's some that we've just let go. There's others that we didn't want to do, and over time we've finally gone, okay, we need to know how to do this because it's coming up all the time. And that's more recent, I think, with like TikTok and
because there's a lot of in-trend like moves rather than like routines, say.
Or styles.
Well, no, not even that. But so like the candy dance. If you don't know how to do the candy dance, then you're struggling at a party. Basically, like you need to know how to do that. Yeah. But there's more moves now. Like it's just a move, so it's kind of easy to like know those moves. But there's been other trends where it's like it's a full like 2/8 of choreo, and you're like,
I'm hoping this one passes real quick.
Like, do we need to learn this? But like a perfect example was the Kiki challenge, the Kiki, and there was some like moves in there that you had to do for the Kiki challenge, but the idea of the challenge was to make it your own. So we put our own twist and pulse spin on that challenge, and we done it, and it did well as a video, and like it went viral, so it was amazing. But I think that's the thing that we think of, like if a new dance craze comes in, we think, one, do we need to do it? Because one, I'll be too old, it's like kids doing it, or two, is it like such a big challenge that we do need to do it because it'll be stupid not to, but let's put our own twist and pulse essence onto it to make it us.
I'm quite against it a lot, like in trend things, because usually from a dance perspective, it isn't anything, everyone's just building on their own hype. It's the hype of it, like someone does it, and then the whole room screams and runs away. But that's like me going like this now, and everyone's screaming and running away, but somehow they made that a thing. And it just happened to be the thing, and sometimes I find it hard to like find the hype in it, like find the feeling of me doing it and everyone getting excited about it. Or like even like when the Dougie came out, it was quite a thing, and like I found it quite hard to do at first. I couldn't find the rhythm of it, but then once I found the actual groove, I found there was an actual like this is a dance move that makes me feel sick. So now if I'm at a club and a tune comes on that feels like it, that move happens, and I understand how someone came up with that groove because it sits in your body like an actual like groove, like anything in terms of like, you know, like hip hop, it has like such a certain feel.
Yeah, it comes from a dancer.
Yeah, like when you start doing the running man, it has like a, you know what the song is playing. I don't need to play you the song, you know what type of song is going to play when you do it. Yeah. And that's why you do the move. And I felt like the Dougie is the same thing. There's a certain type of song that come on that make you do it, where some moves, they're just doing it to house song, R&B, and they're just doing the same move to everything. So it's not about the feeling to me. So sometimes I'm learning it because every like 10 year olds doing it, and they ask me, do you know how to do the thing? And I'm like, yes, I know how to do it. So yeah, that answers your part of the question. You started it with something else though.
I basically, I said, what do you guys do to keep yourselves current?
Oh yeah, yeah. We try and be ahead of everything. Like even social media platforms, like it's got ridiculous now. But at one point, obviously, you just had kind of like Facebook and YouTube, and Instagram was doing alright. Twitter was there, but like usually if something comes out, we just jump on it straight away and try and be there. Like when TikTok was Musically, we were on it, grinding on it, getting our followers up to like 1 million or whatever.
Some people don't even know that. You said it so fast when TikTok was Musically.
Yeah.
I was thinking, what's he on about?
Yeah, so it was obviously
a separate
it was a totally different app.
Yeah,
It was
Musically,
and TikTok was like the another market in like China, and that they own TikTok, and TikTok bought Musically. But we were already over 1 million followers on Musically. So as soon as we moved to TikTok, we're there. Now TikTok's blowing up. We're already over like 1 million followers. So we was already grinding when no one cared about it, just in case it popped off, just in case it become big. And I think that's for a lot of, it's the same with like tech companies. You get a lot of people that are like Gary V's like one of my biggest inspirations, but he knows and invests in companies or like apps straight away. And he says sometimes, you lose time. Sometimes I spent, 40 hours making content for a certain app, and then the app just disappears off the face of the earth. And he's like, then I lost that time. But then sometimes I spent 40 hours on something and it became Instagram. And now I'm, the leading person on that app. And I think we stay current by trying to just anticipate where the market's going to go, especially dance-wise, and just being there first. Like making like short films on YouTube got there quick because there's people making short films, but no dance short films, especially in the UK. There's a lot of stuff in America, but we were like, let's do that before everyone else is doing it now. We're like, if someone does one, oh, that's cool, we've done 5.
So
We're kind of already marking our place in the industry. So if someone needs that and a big brand comes in and goes, we're looking for someone that does dance short films, can't go to anyone but us, because we've already like taken our place in the market for that. Right. And I think that's why, even in terms of like brands doing online content, brands come to us because we're still doing it. We've done so many now that unless you need 10 dancers, if you only need 1, you're probably going to come to us because we've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
So we try and position ourselves like
it's
that.
so funny. I remember when I was in Fundamental, the best R&B group in the UK.
Best.
Best
R&B
basically,
next levels.
We jumped on similar to yourself. There was a platform called Kite, and it was like YouTube basically, but it was kind of like an inbuilt thing where I think you could edit on there, or no, you had your own separate channel on there. And I remember during our run in America or whatever, we was uploading all that content, and then the site was basically just, when
disappeared.
Just disappeared. So I had to I've got all that footage, like us in the studio with Neo and us the photo shoot in Atlanta and all this type of stuff. I mean, and now I have the content, and it's just like it was for that period of time, and I just going off of what you said, it's just so frustrating. Like you said, like when you put in that time, and I've edited videos specifically for that thing, and I put the branding of the channel on the video and all these types of things. So it's just like, how can I put like what's Kite on YouTube? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, why have you got this website at the bottom? Even if I upload it again somewhere else, like it's like MySpace stuff. Like there's videos on YouTube with like old videos that say myspace.com blah blah blah, but it's like kids nowadays are gonna be like, what's that? You know what I'm saying? They're gonna go to MySpace and see the desert. So
but I think it's okay to do that. I mean, I think it's okay to have lost a couple of those things and done it wrong, or beat out. Like we was on Snapchat for ages and then realised that it's not a big platform for us as dancers. Like it's not. It's different if we're doing stuff that's like personal and it's us talking. But in terms of dance content, which is what most people come to watch, it wasn't beneficial to us, so it kind of just got left. And naturally, Snapchat, apart from like young kids, is pretty much a dead like moving thing at the moment in terms of like content. There's not a lot of brands reaching out for Snapchat content as much as they were. So it was fine that it kind of fizzled, but we kind of got a little bit of a following there. So
do you feel like you've got like a radar for these things now?
I think it's more like talking about Snapchat. It's like Instagram upload. Like I did stories, and I was like, "Buy Snapchat."
Well, yeah, it's just one of them things.
And it makes sense for it to all be in one platform. But in regards to other like social media platforms, I feel like everything else is very visual, and you can keep it on there like a library. Whereas Snapchat, I can't even talk for like recent Snapchat because I don't know how to use it.
Listen,
but
I haven't got that.
trust me. But I feel like that was the only one that kind of went really, I guess.
But we said no to quite a few as well. Like we've been asked to join these apps and like get on them before they start up, and we've just sensed that maybe it's not right or it's not different enough for us to create. Every platform we create specific content for that platform, and if it doesn't feel like it's new, then we're just making the same thing.
And you have to get to a point when you have to say no, because at the minute, let's count them. We've got YouTube,
right?
Instagram, Twitter,
TikTok,
and TikTok. That's 5. And back in the day, it was just MySpace.
It was just MySpace. And what's really funny about that is the fact that MySpace, you could just do all that on the one thing, yet it died. And it just doesn't make sense to me till this day why there's no MySpace, because
but
it's the same stuff.
You just answered the reason it died was because it wasn't specific to. If it was just a music platform and it's about promoting your music, I think it would have stayed around. But MySpace became about like designing the background, and you could add videos, and it was cool, but you didn't know what you was going there for. Whereas like Instagram, you just go there because you know you can just scroll through pictures.
I used to design other people's backgrounds. Just saying.
That's
like
how I started, like really like legit graphic designing, like everyone knowing that I do graphic design.
And I've still got them all on my hard drive, like everyone's background.
Productions.
Yeah, productions.
Wow.
I used to put like the glitter in, I used to do the outline.
I did Frank Ocean's MySpace.
Did you?
When he wasn't called Frank Ocean.
That's
when it was called Christopher Bro or whatever.
That's
Mad.
sick.
And that is on the hard drive somewhere.
Yeah, I literally used to make mixes. So like I done a bashment mix part 2, garage mix, and a slow jam mix, and I had them as my songs on MySpace. When I tell you, it got like a couple of thousand downloads each, and I was on a bus one day in Thamesmead in my area, and some girls just playing my bashment mix in the back of the bus, like against the window. Give me the standing, bust this standing, I was
And
just
you're like, you don't even know.
I was like, that's literally my mix. I used to love MySpace.
MySpace was legit, yeah.
Big up Tom. It was Tom on it.
Yep.
You had to follow him as well, innit?
Yeah, he was on your top
Automatic.
friends. That's sick. Man. You couldn't get rid of him. You couldn't unfriend him.
Let's talk about you guys' friendship.
Okay, let's do that.
How have you not killed each other after all this time?
We have.
And we've been reborn
Yeah.
many a time.
This is just the pulse point 2.
Yeah, 2.12 I think. Yeah, I think it's one of them things that like over time with friendship you obviously just learn more about each other and what the way is to work. And I think the reason that it's constantly changed is because what we've been doing has changed. So like when we did gigs, we got used to how each other were at gigs and how we were in the car or how we were when we stay in hotels, and like you know your place within each other's boundaries. You get what I mean? You get used to like what pisses someone off and what doesn't, and what's going to make someone. Yeah, I can tell in the morning exactly what mood Ash is in, and Ash can tell what I'm in before we've even spoken. There's times where we get in the car and I'm in silence. We won't even say hello. I just get in the car and drive 3 hours to the gig. We haven't even spoken.
That's okay, yeah.
But we know that I'm not being rude. I'm just this is my thing. It's
Trust
the morning.
me,
I've not even got my mind's just not been switched on. But then opposite, sometimes I'm just nighttime and Ash needs to go sleep and I'm up and I'm 1000% energy, and it's like I think it's just knowing each other's boundaries is what's kind of kept the friendship alive, and figuring out how to kind of accept those boundaries rather than being annoyed at the fact that you're quiet or annoyed at the fact that he wants to do that and I don't want to do that. But
I think that's really important in every relationship, like whether it be family, friends, who your partner is or whatever, like just not forcing that person to change based on what you demand from anything, and just obviously knowing you guys' different personalities. I've observed over time that you guys definitely give each other the elbow room to be yourselves.
Yeah, and I think that's like I'll just let you speak in a minute, but I get used to talking. I think there's a thing as well that like with time and like all the different changes I guess that happen, like you don't know how someone's gonna be until you're in that position or that thing is happening. And I think a lot of the time, like the only reason that we've fallen out or had an argument about a new situation is because we're so comfortable with the previous situation. So I already feel like he's gonna be a some way, but I don't know how he feels with this because it's different to how he feels with that. But I'm treating him the same as he should have felt before. And what do you mean you've changed? What do you mean you've grown up? Or what do you mean that you don't feel like that anymore? Do you know what I mean? Like you could say you don't eat a certain amount of things and all of a sudden like your taste buds change over every certain amount of years and now you're eating that, and I'm like, who are you? What do you mean? But it's like you have to accept that sometimes your justice is different. Like you didn't fancy that when you was that age and now you're this age, things are different. And I think we used to do the thing where it'd be 5 years but I'm treating him
as if it was
the first year, but I haven't had the conversation and he hasn't had the conversation to be like, this is different now, or this is how I feel about this now, or I've met new people in my life and they've opened me up to new things and made me see things differently. So I don't feel the same way about this tree, but you think I do, so you're avoiding even coming near the tree. Do you know what I mean? But you don't need to because I'm alright with it now. But yeah, I think there's a lot of communication.
Are there any specific things where over the 10 years, like, I don't know, for either one of you, like, Glen, you like this and now you don't, or vice versa, like, and Ash, the same for you?
I'm trying to think.
Where you've seen the change.
I feel like it's probably better for, like, I could probably tell you Glen's and he could tell me mine because we're on the other side.
Yeah.
But like I think more recently within like the last 2 years, I think because it's been 10 years, so we both started when we was like 18, 19, and we're both now like 29, almost 30. So I feel like in life in general, this kind of age, people are changing a lot, so much.
You're not kids anymore.
At all. Yeah, there are things that have changed. I feel like one of the things with Glen was always like his food. It's like he was always, I say he was always because he has changed a lot now, but like very, very like fussy and certain, like could only eat certain foods and all that. But in the last 2 years, he's like eating vegetables or whatever he's eating now.
He's eating vegetables. Groundbreaking.
It's like how to drink a bit of alcohol now and again.
Yeah.
Whereas I didn't drink alcohol at all.
At all. So like
I don't drink, but as in like if I went somewhere now, I'm not against it.
Yeah, socialise and have an alcoholic beverage.
A beverage.
So but yeah, like me back in the day, if he'd done that randomly, I'd have been like, Glen, what are you doing? You drinking? Yeah, I'm drinking. I'm like, that's not you.
It's a big thing, you know?
Yeah, it's a big thing. But now it's like, that's what I'm saying about that age and that, and everyone changes in life anyway. But it's just about embracing those changes, and it's not a bad thing. Like, oh my god, why are you drinking? Because like you're not even my friend. I don't know you. it's not even about that. It's just accepting people's change in their personalities and as themselves as a person, and embracing it and like helping them get to that next stage where they want to go.
I think we found it hard along the way to listen to each other when someone had evolved in one aspect and realised something, to be like, oh, I think you should do this now, and you're like, but you're not there yet. But I'm like, no, trust me. But then 2 years later, you're like, I never do that now. Like Ash has a load of things, like there's times when he's looked back at pictures and hates his hair, and I'm like, at the time I told you that it wasn't a good hairstyle, but at the time he was in it. But I'm like, trust me. But he didn't at the time. But now he's like, oh, I wish I'd listened to that because then I wouldn't have done that. But you can't know until
because I've got the same barber now. Like I've had the same barber for like the last 8 years. Even when I see him now, I even reference it. I said, you was giving me the dead haircut.
But he thought it was he thought he was changing the game.
And then the barber was like, yeah, you wanted that. And I was like, I know, but you're cutting my hair, so you have every right to say this is a dead haircut.
Like, he thought he was changing the game with this haircuts, and like, I'd be like, trust, like,
you'll
it's
see
not the one. But
yeah,
but now he looks at pictures and he hates them, and it's like, all we had to do was listen to each other, but
I know what that
we
was
never
as
judged
well,
each other. Like,
overpowering that conversation was my mum.
Because your mum said it was sick.
My mum said the haircut was the best.
Your mum's dead.
My mum said, you can't say my mum's dead, mate. My mum rated the haircut so much, like seriously, even if I see her now, she would still say, I used to love that haircut you had. And I know now that it was the deadest haircut. It was dead. It was so dead. I look at photos now and I'm like, wow.
What was it? It was like a...
It's like an ice gem. We call it the ice gem. Remember ice gems?
Yeah.
The little biscuit with like the little colour whip, and then they've done the chocolate
Like a little whip on his head.
It was literally, so my sides started off... I remember we was on the Olympic Torch Relay tour, and I went to Tony and Guy in Nottingham, because I thought, if I'm changing my hairstyle, Tony and Guy.
Right.
And he came out looking sick.
I came out looking sick, like it was
Fresh.
different. It was still quite short,
New man.
but it looked good. It was like £90, so I nearly fainted, but I done it, and I bought some like sea salt. Remember sea salt?
Yeah.
They used to have this sea salt spray that was like £30 for the bottle. Don't know who I thought I was, but it looked nice. It was really nice. And then as I got off the tour, I went back to my barber and I was like, yeah, this is the thing. And then every time I went back, the sides basically got higher and higher in terms of shaved.
So he's basically at a high top, but with a...
But then I
think I remember that era.
And it was growing on top.
Throwing a picture up on screen.
And I used to like go round, and it started going round into like, that's how we call it the ice gem. But I remember my mum being like, it's so creative the way you like whip it round.
And he used to spend so long in his hair, and I used to just get up and go, you ready to go? And my guy's like all doing all this.
So yeah, that whole ice gem haircut was my mum, man. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, but we had
you got to try things, I suppose.
But we had loads of those sort of things. I didn't wear Vans for ages because I thought they were terrible, and Ash was wearing them all the time, and all of a sudden I had bare Vans.
I remember another one.
Like, what? Why didn't I buy Vans? What's wrong with me?
Carrot jeans.
Such a child. Yeah.
When carrot jeans, when they used to come in and it was like tied at the bottom, I started like basically like skinny jeans now,
Oh, right.
but they were a bit more
tapered.
baggier and they like tapered into the bottom.
Oh yeah.
I started rocking them and I was like, these are sick blower. I remember Glen being like, what the hell are those? They are dead. They're so dead, blah blah. 2 years ago, my mum comes in, like my coat jeans, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, okay.
We had a photo. There was loads of them coming out. We had a photo shoot, and Ash was wearing like a shirt and whatever. And I said, you have to dress the shirt. You need like a long chain, or like wear a ring, watch. Nah, don't do any of that stuff. That's you thing. I had a long chain, ring. Didn't hate anything. Now every day ring. He hasn't got a chain on today.
Every day. Bling,
All of a sudden
bling.
now he's got long chains. He's got a new collection of stuff. And I'm like, that's literally in the last year. And this photo shoot was back Ice Gem times like 5 years ago. I was telling him to buy jewelry. No, don't wear jewelry. Trust me, man. You need to dress like.
What is that rebellion?
Why don't you listen
thing
to each
about?
other? Just listen to each
Dunno,
other.
what is that?
I'm only trying to help. Like we're trying to help each other. Like, but we didn't want to listen to each other until we discovered
But
it was right.
But as well as I think it's because it's just us two because we've known each other for so long. Like somebody else, like you could tell Glen, carrot jeans are sick, buy them now.
I'll be like,
go
yeah,
buy
yeah,
them.
cool.
We'll go buy them. But I'll tell him that, and he's like, no, dead. But I don't know what that is.
But that's what's funny is that now we know that.
Yeah.
So now we're very like, this is probably the most open last couple of years we've been with each other in terms of going, that's dead, or I'm not wearing that, or etc. Whereas before we used to just be doing things and I'm thinking, what is he? And he's thinking the same about me, but in totally different random things.
And
Like,
other times as well when we used to tell each other to do something, oh, wear this or wear that. So like we run with it, but it is actually dead. So like, I remember on one of our photo shoots, yeah. Obviously I picked the outfit, but then I'm standing there in the outfit and I'm asking Glen, is this decent, yeah? And he's gone, yeah. Obviously because we took the photos in it, like we done it.
what
But I remember.
was this?
Actually, it wasn't the photo shoot, it was for an event. But remember when you got into those like proper like patterny smart trousers, sick trousers? Wore them, yeah, but I wore a shirt and like a jumper over the top of it, but it had loads of like holes in, like holes.
Worn type
Yeah,
Kanye
but it had
West.
loads of holes in, so you saw the shirt underneath. The outfit, yeah. We'll put the photo up on the screen just so you guys can get it. But I've looked back at it and I'm like, and I had Ice Gem as well, so that would help him. But I was like, oh my god, I can't believe it. And it was a smart, like I think we did red carpet, like press shots. And,
We've won some questionable stuff.
but everyone feels like that. When you look back at yourself 10 years ago, you're dead. So
Like when I think, oh, why didn't we get a TV show back then? It's because of what we look like. Now I look at it, I'm like, that makes sense.
Now I understand when people take videos of themselves down or delete old photos. I know why they do that, because it's not good for their career.
We were messed up with stuff like that, but yeah, that's growth, innit?
Speaking of growth, what do you think is what do you think is the secret to your longevity in this industry?
Secret to it, honesty with each other.
Honesty and communication
Yeah.
is key.
But again, by that conversation we just had, we had to find that. Like we, especially dance. Dance is the one thing we've always been honest with.
Right.
Like if Ash brings in something dead or it doesn't fit in the set, it's not going in the set. If I bring something and moves the shit, he would tell me that shit.
Yeah.
Like that's just exactly like that since the first time we made up a routine, and that's never changed. All our routines are the only things. We always have a thing. If Ash thinks of a move and I think of a move, and we can't decide, we don't do either.
Wow.
New move. Like we scrap that. If we can't think of that piece of music, it doesn't work. It just leaves. Whether we both love the song or not, if it doesn't fit in the set, it doesn't make it. And I think we've always been honest when it comes to dance stuff, whereas other stuff is life. It's been
Life
hard.
stuff that's naturally just come into it because we're spending so much time. It's been 10 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, honesty and communication is something that definitely adds to the longevity.
100.
So in terms of like people that's kind of been on your side, managers, agents, or whatever, like, is there any specific people that's made it so like, okay, like we wouldn't have gone this far without?
No one. No, I'm joking.
No, obviously friends and family.
Yeah.
Like, firstly, of obviously.
Yeah, Friends and
supporting
Family
us.
called Jump was sick. Our single, thought it was sick. Best song ever. Bigger than Michael Jackson Thriller. That's what I thought.
Bigger than my song though.
Michael Jackson Thriller.
Oh, because I had a song called Jump as well.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
One of our songs sounds like Playground as well.
That's better than Playground, by the way. Just saying. Jump's better than Playground.
Oh,
Which one?
Jump.
My first single.
your Jump.
Okay.
Not our Jump. Our Jump's not better than Playground. And our copy of Playground isn't better than Playground either. our beat is literally the same as Playground.
Oh my gosh. Fundamental, Jump, and Playground on YouTube. And
Yeah. Why did it always have that random jump in the music?
What?
When you downloaded it, it always had that bit in the second verse that used to just cut.
Like glitch, like.
Is it?
Yeah, every release version of Jump.
Is it?
Yeah, it doesn't end the chord, it just jumps. It's like the person who put it on iTunes has messed it up.
Damn.
Yeah, I'll play it later. Moving on. Every version, doesn't matter, even if you went to a party, same version jumps.
Oh my god.
I can be in the party, everyone's
I've known that for 10 years.
Because I don't know, I guess I've performed it and it's been fine.
Yeah, it jumps every time.
I don't know, we got it from LimeWire, boy.
I think that's what it is. So yeah, any specific people that have helped you achieve your goals and your dreams
I'm trying
and
to
your
think from the
desires?
beginning. We've had some amazing tour managers.
Amazing.
Dean Murphy and Andy, both amazing tour managers. They helped us loads in terms of just even hearing their stories from like working with other artists and other acts and things like that. And they literally travelled the whole of the UK with us. So
They went above and beyond. Like both of them went more than what they'd meant to do as a tour manager.
Those are the best tour managers.
Yeah. But in terms of managers, we can start off the managers conversation.
Managers, yeah, it's a hard one, I think, with a manager. Like anyone having a manager that's in the performing arts industry or the music industry or whatever. But for us, we always find it hard to tell everything that we're feeling to a manager, just so they know exactly what we're about and exactly what we want. For them to go and represent us at a meeting or to create new opportunities, always in the back of my head I'm thinking it's not going to come across as passionate as it's coming from us.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest thing about finding a manager that works for you.
I can speak honestly that over time with most of our managers, I've had quite big fallings out, I would say, towards the end. I think we've always had like a grace period or like honeymoon period where when we met them, they're so in tune with what we want. But then once they get their feet on the ground and start figuring out what they can do, and they start aiming in a direction that they think's right, but maybe it's not for us, we start to clash, and I find it quite hard to relinquish the control to allow them to do that. And then when I question their, like, why do you think that's right for us? And they come back, I feel like I've butted heads with quite a few of our managers just because I want them to understand how we feel about it. And like, we're not doing it because that's that's gonna make us most money. Like, we're doing it because we want, like, that's our aim, that's what we're passionate about. And when I can't get that across, I find it really frustrating. We're always open to listen to people, and like, we're not always right. Like, we're always very okay to know that, but I need to know why you think that's right. Like, you need to sell it to me, like, explain it to me so I can understand, but don't just willy-nilly, this there, you'd be great because someone else told me that this is good. I'm like, I need information. Like, I can be control freaks, both of us are perfectionists, but that's what I mean. Then if you're doing it, then I need it like controlled and perfect. So I go, okay, cool, then do it that way. You can take care of it the right way. Or I need to know enough about what you're doing so that I can fix the bits that I don't feel comfortable with. And then Ash can go, but we need to do it. I don't want to film it there, I want to film it here.
I still don't get it, and I think it's just one of those things that's in the industry. Everyone has those things that they hate about the industry, but the loves of the industry always overpower those hates, so that's why you still do it. But for like a perfect example, we've reached out to managers and agents that we think will be good for us to put us in the right direction of where we want to go, but we just get air. Like, no one ever replies to us or whatever. For whatever reason, they're busy or they just don't feel like we're right for them or whatever. But then as soon as you do something that's amazing, like Champions, why is everybody approaching us and like ringing us and boys, we'll have to sign you.
Yeah, and we're very much like now, people need to understand that we know our worth now to that sense. So like when people reach, hey boys, I saw you on, and we're like, I've definitely emailed you 12 times. You've paired me over the last 10 years.
And we know, like, we take note of who we've tried to reach out when we're struggling at times, and people haven't replied, or they've replied with a one-liner, sorry we're busy, and there's nothing else, like not even, I love what you guys are doing, but just at this moment in time it's not right for us. But you always get those people that are coming back to you, and they're like, oh boys, congrats on winning the Champions, like I've been following you ever since 2010. No, you haven't, like stop lying. But that's the bit that I think is quite frustrating, and I'm aware that's like that for a lot of people in the industry, so
in
I just
multiple
wanted to
industries
say it out loud.
well,
Yeah.
That kind of made me think of a different question that we didn't really ask you to.
I've got a question based on what you just said. If you were a Ninja Turtle, which one would you be?
Raphael.
I don't know their names, you know.
That's interesting, because I was going to say Raphael for you, and I was going to say Michelangelo for you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Is he nice?
Why would you have said Raphael for me?
Just because of the button heads part that you said, and just there's a thing where obviously we know Michelangelo's personality is always happy-go-lucky. He's on the skateboard.
Wacky.
A bit wacky, a bit, you know.
Loving that.
Let's go!
Come
on.
And you're definitely like, all right, cool. Let's bring it back down to a logistic.
Yeah, let's
level.
figure this out. Let's work it out.
You can't just. It was when you said the manager thing, and I was like, you can't just tell me what to do without showing me that it's the right thing to do, and all the bits and pieces. And so yeah, when you was speaking it was just, I don't know why Ninja Turtles came to my head, but I was just thinking, that's so Raphael.
They have different personality traits, isn't it? So makes sense.
And it's red as well.
Obviously, makes sense.
What colour is my man?
Orange.
Who's the blue one?
Leonardo.
Why am I not him?
Because he's a very focused
It's a bit
leader.
too focused, suave, kind of like.
Focused? I'm not focused.
You're a leader, but you're a wacky leader. You're a lead by like.
You got too much personality for leader.
Yeah, he's too straight cutting. That's a good
man.
question. That's a good question.
So just to quickly touch upon BGT, Britain's Got Talent, how did you guys feel kind of returning to that environment, and what kind of like hoops did they try and make you jump through, and like what was it? What was that experience like going back into that whirlwind?
I think when it comes to BGT The Champions, the energy of the whole experience just felt different. Like from us, when we said yes, we would like to compete, and we got the green light to do it, we were so on it and so like prepared that
They didn't understand what's going on.
yeah, it was literally that. So we got the email we say we was doing it in March, and we were filming in July. We had the costumes done in March, like it was done.
Designed, drawn up, photoshopped, ready,
Amazing.
ordering stuff.
Yeah, we had all that done, and then I think it was like 3 weeks before the filming day, and the costume department got in touch with us. So, boys, so what are we thinking for the costume? We've done it.
We've done.
We've done it.
Yeah.
So things like that, in terms of like the energy of the whole thing, it just felt right. Like the way we made the set. I remember being on the cruise. We were performing on the cruise, and we said, let's just open up like a spreadsheet and write down. We had like a jokes column, a routines column, a tricks column, music, and the list, as you can imagine, like 9 years on, was insane. But that's how much detail we went into. We wrote down everything, and we just picked what we thought were our best jokes from 10 years of experience of performing those routines and choreo and whatever on stage, what lands well with audiences, what tricks were the best, and we've done that, and we just handpicked everything with some new fresh songs in and choreo, got into the studio, and basically just went in like we knew we had to make the best set.
Of course.
Our biggest aim for Champions was to get into the final. Although I do remember speaking to my parents about it, and I remember saying, look, even if we don't get into the final, just to be invited back and be competing amongst other like winners of all the Got Talent franchises is a huge achievement, and it's only going to help our career, and we're going to perform a 6 set anyway, so it's fine. But then as it was getting closer, we could feel ourselves, and you have to be making your final routine as well, because it was only like 4 days in between like filming. So you had to have your final ready.
It's a different vibe completely. Like 2010 was kind of like the light shining in your eyes, and you're going, oh, okay, this is amazing.
Yeah,
like spotlight. Whereas we were more like spotlighting everyone, like torches on everyone else. Like, what have you got? What are we doing? Who's doing that?
Because I feel like obviously you going away from the competition, you obviously experiencing it 10 years ago, and then coming back to the competition with so much professionalism. You've been in different environments, you've been on cruise ships, you've been on your own little mini tours or whatever, you perform hundreds of thousands of times. So it's just like, you know the ins and outs of what it takes to put on a show. So coming back into that environment, I can only imagine that you guys are able to look at these professional people, quote unquote, and be like, well, we definitely know how this is meant to be lit, and this is sound is meant to come in at this point, and like, is Greg doing his job over there? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
it's just like Ash was saying about like the jokes and stuff. Like, people always asking us about like putting the routines together and that, but the jokes have been trial and error at gigs. Gone home, tweaked it, cut the bit of music a bit more, sped up a bit, added the sound. Like,
I don't think people realise that.
No, they just think we all put a funny song and then me and Ash do that, and everyone usually laughs at it. But sometimes they laugh at it, but we go, it's still not right.
Yeah, like,
do you know what? Sorry to cut you, but I'm a huge fan of obviously comedy. Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, Kevin Hart, whatever. Cedric, Dave Chappelle, like, you get what I'm saying? I'm about this life. So although I don't do comedy, I'm very much in tune with it. So it's kind of just like, that's what you guys are doing. Like, and I don't feel like the same way there's not that respect there for being a comedian, because I feel like it's the hardest discipline.
Because if you don't get a laugh,
right, it's just like, that's your whole gig, you know. And I feel like for you guys to consistently interject comedy into it, it kind of like, although I should have realized that that's what you guys have to do, is trial and error, but you don't think of it because it's cloaked in dance. Do you get what I'm saying? But you guys, obviously, because the comedy's so integral to your act.
Yeah, the timing, the style, the speed, like all the little things have changed so much, and it still changes, even stuff that we know works, because we've evolved of like how even sometimes it works musically, but physically it doesn't. Like sometimes we got the joke landing perfectly musically, but we change the minimal thing of like, we do the hero thing and we stand and we think, but then sometimes just putting the hands on each other's hips took it to the next level. Then there was hands on the hips and me turning and going, like adding them little details, and then sometimes I did it, that didn't work as good, don't do that next time.
Right.
Ash, when he whispers in my ear, funny, but then he whispers and he puts his leg up behind him, like a little girl doing it, next level. But he didn't do that straight away. No. But as he adds, and then I think he did something else once, or he won over and it not too much. He bring it in a little bit, and it's like,
that's amazing.
Once it lands, man, like it proper lands. And sometimes it's very hard to know when it's the audience. And it's not the joke. The joke lands, but the audience just aren't up for it, or that you got a bad response. So because sometimes you run home, we need to change it. It wasn't funny, because last time we did it, it banged. Yeah. So it's not that, it was the audience. And that's hard as well, because sometimes you can double.
So what I'm realizing, just speaking, you guys are comedians as well, like legit comedians, because you're doing the actual craft of it.
No, it's true, and I think we don't give ourselves enough credit when it comes to the funny parts, because we're known as dancers. Obviously, we've got a lot of comedy in our sets and stuff, but because we don't think of ourselves as comedians, we don't ever give ourselves enough credit for the jokes. But you're right, we're basically doing stand-up in between our dance
doing
choreo.
The discipline of it.
When it actually comes to putting those jokes in, as you've probably seen, and other people, from on all the talent shows like the Got to Dance, Greatest Dancer, BGT, whatever, even like global shows. But since we've done our Twist and Pulse thing back in 2010 and we put it out there that we're doing jokes and dance, a lot of other people have tried to do that, which is absolutely fine and it's great. But the majority of the time when you're watching these people, you actually realise, wow, it is hard. It's so hard to put jokes in and make them land and actually make somebody go and actually laugh, because it's hard. The amount of performances that I've seen where people are trying to add in comedy moments and it does the opposite, and it makes you cringe and you can't watch it, because it's not funny, or the idea that they had was funny, but it's just not been put together right. And exactly what you're saying about all them comedians you listed,
they know their style.
They know their style, but they've all got the perfect comedic timing, and that's whenever we've spoke to any comedians that we've bumped into on gigs or whatever, and there's one comedian in particular called Tucker who we worked with in pantomime a few years ago, and he was doing a joke with me in the show, and he said, just make sure you leave it like 2 seconds longer, then reply. I'm not joking, I left a 2 second gap, then said the same punchline, and the joke was so much better for just waiting for 2 minutes.
Wow.
So it's sorry, I keep saying 2 minutes.
No, wait,
2
2
seconds.
minutes, that's the time. Wow.
Literally, but that's what I'm saying, 2 seconds. Like literally timing for all of that stuff, and exactly what Glen was just saying about the hero. We started off, it was a funny joke, we kept tweaking timing, make the little hero power down as it goes, making that awkward silence like a bit longer, a bit shorter, like it could be too long, it's like, oh, next song coming, like it's literally just tweaking all of that, but it's hard, innit? Yeah, and 10 years in the game, like we've literally figured out the formula. So going back to your original question, which was about the champions, and did we feel like prepared and feel like we could win? When it comes to picking our jokes, and we put our Titanic joke forward, and they turned around and said, oh boy, what do you think about doing like a Chitty Chitty Bang Bang joke? We're like, no, like let's do the Titanic joke because we've performed it 2,000 times, and every single time we performed it, people have laughed their head off. So we already know what jokes are going to work and what choreo is banging. So yeah, when we was making the sets, it just literally felt like we were making winning sets. And 2010 times, it didn't feel like that at all.
It felt like we were just making our set to go on and do it because it's going to be amazing.
Like
go on
television.
television.
It's the same thing of showcase and competition.
Yeah.
It's like dance groups or artists, or if you're in an MC battle or whatever, and they're clashing, people make like songs to release, showcase, and people like make bars to clash someone, or they'll make a set to compete to win. Champions, we were making, our 2 routines we made were like winning sets, like, and we knew that.
Do you know what I feel like? You probably, obviously I'm out here assuming, but it sounds to me like you went in there knowing what the possibilities were, as opposed to like 10 years ago when it was like you said, going in there and kind of hoping for the best, where you had all this, like the second time around, you had all this knowledge and this education of and knowing yourselves, knowing your own artistry, and just going in with, like you said, knowing your worth.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
But that's like, it's a weird thing because you have to be brave to say it, but we knew we could win.
Yeah.
And like that's like,
and it felt
that's
like
not a big-headed thing. It's just the fact that we knew that there were people that were gonna just come and sing their favourite song that they've sung over the last few years and whatever. Whereas we went there like, we're doing a competition, we're making a brand new piece of the best stuff we've ever done to beat everybody, to make everyone else look worse, make the audience go nuts, and it's undeniably like we can't not win. Like that's the feeling we went for when we made it. Like,
but it looked. I'm just telling you that it looked like that on the TV screen, and when I watched it.
But we dance like that. Do you know what I mean? Like we dance like we're in a competition.
I feel like you guys always dance full out, 100%. Like it's not even like a joke. Do you get what I'm saying? But watching it, I said to you, I sent you that long voicemail, and I said, "There's an aura on these 2 performances that is so undeniable, and like you even just talking about the knowing that you could win, you could see it, like, and that's I can't remember which judge said it, but it was just like, what are we to do with this other than just give it the trophy? Because it's different from just the years and years of competitors that we've seen perform these amazing things, like they can just, but you can pluck those performances and put them on a cruise or wherever in a theatre, wherever. But this was specifically to champions, to win this thing, and the energy was so there that when I found out, I wasn't surprised, and imagine like being not surprised but super overjoyed at the same time. So it's like a clash of like Oh yeah, standard, but
It's so mad that looking back at it now, the Golden Buzzer performance, which was our first performance, we had the little soundbite from Queen, "We Are the Champions." In the dance, it come up on the back screen saying, "We are the champions," and we're just doing a wave to it.
Yeah.
But at this point, we was literally just competing to try and get through to the final. But now that it's all done and dusted, and we were the champ, well, yeah, we got the trophy. Things like that, going back to like, we knew we had it in us to win.
We were already saying it.
We're already saying it. Basically, you could literally see it. It wasn't even a surprise really, because we told you already that we were going to win it.
I'm telling you, that's how it looked.
Like, it was mad.
And even the soundbite at the opening of our Golden Buzzer says, "Every champion once was a contender that refused to give up." And we tried to find something for ages that made sense, but we put that in right at the beginning to be like, boom.
Listen.
Here's the champion. We didn't refuse to give up. We're basically calling ourselves the champion.
And nobody else did that. Like, there were some amazing acts, and everyone there was obviously hugely talented. But I'm telling you, I didn't watch one performance when I was like,
we're in trouble.
Like, we're not even that we're in trouble, but like, oh my god, they've literally taken on the whole Champions theme and been like, this is my piece. Do you know what I mean? Nobody else.
There was stuff that we was like blown away.
Amazed at talent-wise, but it's like you saying, you take it off that stage, put it on a cruiser, put it in a theatre, and go get standing ovation, and it'd be amazing. But
there wasn't Champions dedicated performances.
And that's one thing that the BGT team did drill into us, that like really try and play on the whole Champions thing, because that was the style of the whole show, and everyone there was already a champion. So for us to come back and just have that formula and go that one step further, like, it was just so mad, man.
That's the difference. Then you guys left with the trophy, and that's the reason why. And that's all she wrote. If you could give yourself some advice 10 years ago, what would it be? Like, if you could go back.
My advice would be to...
Don't get an Ice Gem haircut.
That. No, and like, it's hard to explain, but don't worry about a certain opportunity or something not going to plan. Like, I got to a point in the Twisted Paws career was like, if we don't stay with this manager, our career is going to be dead. It's going to be over. Like, it's literally going to be dead. And I remember at that one point, I was so scared that if we got rid of this manager, I was like, I'm literally going to have to go back to B&Q and start working again. Like, I thought it was done, do you know what I mean? But the piece of advice would be, to keep strong, I guess, and keep focused that you can do it by yourself with each other, rather than just relying on somebody else.
I've got loads of things, but I'm trying to think of something specific. One, I think I kind of mentioned in another thing, which was don't let people tell you how to feel about people or projects. Don't let them, overcloud your feeling toward that person or that thing. Like, there's definitely people that we stopped speaking to or projects that we missed out on because of what someone else said, and I think that's crazy. Like, when I look back at it now, I wish that never happened. And I think just that the whole communication thing in general, I think I didn't talk enough. I still don't do it now, but I didn't talk enough about what I wanted / what I didn't want, more importantly, do you know what I mean, out loud. And even in terms of like the fame side of it, like, we was in such a tornado of like whirlwind of being on telly and doing all these gigs. My main thing is keep your money, because keep your money, because we were making crazy money and I don't have no money now. So where is it? But obviously, on life, as in I've got money in terms of that, but in terms of what we were making and what we invested in, we didn't really know what to do with it. No one helped us. We didn't have an accountant. We didn't have none of that stuff, and we lost out on a lot of things because we didn't have the knowledge. So that was one thing in terms of look after your money. But in terms of the talking thing, even like friends and stuff, like, I don't think, unless you've been through it, you don't understand it.
Yeah.
So none of our friends, probably to this day, still don't quite understand what we went through. They just think, oh, you're living it up. Like, you're sick, you've been on telly, you think you're amazing, you're having the best time. You want to film with us? Oh, you can pay bare money because you've got loads of money because you're doing, I've seen you on TV. We was grinding to the bone, like still to do certain things, and I don't think people realise that. And I think, not we used it against them, but I think I thought certain things of people and situations, but they weren't educated on it, and we didn't have a conversation for me to be like, this is how things are.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that I remember being so busy for so long and then not being busy and being at home and seeing people doing stuff and thinking, oh, why didn't you invite me? Or like, why? But because they just think, oh, I'm off it. Cool. I'm not going to message Glen, he's too busy because he's off gigging all over the country. But I'm sitting in my house saying, I would have gone to cinema with you, but no one's hollered at me. But it's because how are either of you meant to know if no one speaks? And I think communication is like crazy key in kind of just understanding that, like, it's not what you think most of the time. It's not what you think. Yes, I was saying in terms of even money stuff, like people just think we can pay for everything and do everything because we've been on telly, won champions. You can pay thousands of pounds for this and that and the other, but what about life? Like, I've still got bills, like we've still got normal things to pay for, and we've been able to, buy nice things over time, but it still comes back to some days we're like, how do we get rent this month? Because we're very much like, we've invested in ourselves. Like, short films don't happen for free.
This is it.
They cost money, like video filming, doing this, like everything costs money to
reinvest back into
into yourself. So the reason we're still here 10 years later is because we spent the money on ourselves. That's why we're here. Like we always said, if we won like £1 million on the game show, you wouldn't be able to go outside without seeing Twist & Pulse on the side of a bus or on billboards, because we just make a point of being like, this is where we are, www.twistandpulse.com. Find us. Like, you wouldn't be able to not see us. But I think people just think that's where we're at and don't think to reach out to us, and we don't reach out to them. And I think I would have told myself, keep connected to everyone, make sure everyone's aware of where you're at and where they're at. Yeah, man.
Brilliant.
Bish bash bosh.
So guys, after all that you've been through, what's next?
The way I delivered that. Tour.
Another tour?
Another tour? No, obviously we did our first UK headline tour this Feb. As you know, which
very much present.
Saved our life.
Kept us alive.
No, but that was the first time we'd ever toured like our own two-man show, and it was incredible. It was hard, but now I think that we've done that, we've kind of learned a lot from that experience. So we'd love to do that again, maybe on a bigger scale or more theatres and venues and things like that. So as soon as we're allowed out to play again and allowed to do that, it'd be nice to kind of get into that creative space again of having our own show.
I think it's important for people to see that even after a decade, it's only after 10 years you were doing your first tour. Because I feel like people just think it's an overnight success thing and you're able to do whatever you want. But
we had the opportunity to do it, but it's always like adding other acts or other people. We just want to do our own. But how do you do two people on stage for 2 hours?
And you did it.
And we did it, and we nearly died.
Incredibly.
Thank you.
And I nearly died as well.
Yes. But we're all still here, alive, just about. Thank God.
So
so I think tours next, and some crazy new videos. We've got some in the pipeline of. Yes, we're trying to again, obviously doing normal, consistent videos, but we're trying to do some game-changing, next level videos. So.
And where can your fans or newfound fans find you guys?
Everywhere. Obviously you're on YouTube now, isn't it?
You're watching on YouTube, so stay on YouTube.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
MSN, Facepic, Bebo, MySpace, and Pixo.
Hit us up. Twist & Pulse official.
Kite as well.
Crazy.
Thank you though, thanks Jermaine, that was sick, love that.
Finger slaps.
I mean, hey, I'm here.
We appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Peace out.
Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe, comment and like.
Yes, make sure you hit the little bell as well to get notifications on all our new videos. We'll see you guys soon.
Peace.